Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to solve another problem, which is the best time to buy and sell the stock. In the previous video we have talked about this similar problem, but it was a different version of that. So now we'll see a different version, and in the coming questions as well, in the coming playlist we'll be solving the variations of these particular problem. So without wasting much of the time, let's jump into the problem statement and then we'll see the code and the logic. So if we see the problem statement is saying you are given with an integer of prices and you are given the price on the ith day. Okay, on each day you may decide to buy or sell the stock. Okay, you can hold at most one share of the stock at any time. So this is the line we have to pay attention, and how it is different from the previous problem we have discussed. And however, you can sell and buy the stock multiple times on the same day, ensuring you are not holding more than one stock. Okay, so let's discuss what the problem is saying. 715364. Okay, so the problem is saying, let's suppose we are given with this array 75715 and 4. Okay, so if we talk about the previous problem that we have discussed in the last video, and how this problem is different from that, like not exactly different, but what is the variation in that. So if we talk about the previous problem, in the previous problem there was that we are buying a stock on a day, buying, and then we are selling it on some another day. We are not holding that stock, or we are not holding it like we could continuously buy, sell, or kind of iteration. So we were talking about a single transaction, which is, let's suppose we are buying on this day and we are selling on this day, so it's done and dusted. But now the problem here is changes. So now here what the problem is saying, let's suppose you buy on the ith day. Let's suppose you buy on the ith day and you sell on some jth day. So if we talk about the profit, so profit is a of j minus a of I, right? This is the profit that we have get. Now also after jth day, like any day greater than equal to j, you can again buy the stock and again sell it. But you cannot do this thing that you buy a stock on the ith day, then you also buy the stock on the jth day. This is not possible because you cannot hold the stock more than one. We can just do the multiple transactions for a single piece of stock. So now let's suppose if we talk about this particular test case that is given to us, 7 1 5 3 6 and 4. Now if I buy the stock on this particular day, I buy the stock here and I sell the stock at here. I sell the stock at here. So if I talk about this particular transaction, in this particular transaction I've got the profit of 4. Now I can buy the stock at 5, 3, 6 or 4. Now what I've done is I have again buy the stock at here on this day and again sell the stock at this point. So now there is this particular transaction I'm talking about. So in this particular transaction the profit is 3. So my net profit is 7. So this is how the problem is different from what we have discussed in the previous problem, and how this is like a buy stocks problem too. So like it is quite understood as well. If we go by the previous approach, we are by a greedy method. If I go by a greedy method like we have adopted in the previous approach, like that won't work, because if I talk about the ith day, I am having two options, either to buy or to sell, and it is also dependent upon the previous day, like on I-1 or some previous jth state, for which my buy would only be dependent if I have already sold the stock, and my sell would only happen if I already have bought the stock. So now, do we got any kind of intuitions when we are dealing with this is ith day and then two options? Like, can we think of there is some kind of a recursion, or let's suppose we talk about something DP kind of thing that is actually working over here. Like, can we think of some kind of DP like we usually do, because we have two possible options and we could thought of that there is some kind of DP we could use. Now to solve a problem with DP, like if we talk about dynamic programming, there are 2 to 3 steps that you actually need to take care of. First, there is clearly need to define the state. Your state should be well and clearly defined, then only you will be able to move ahead. Then clear transaction, like how your DP state, like let's suppose if we talk about DP state, if I say my DP of I is something max profit till I. This is just an example. I'm not saying this is the correct DP state or something. And the transition would look something like, let's suppose DP of I is DP of I minus 1 plus 1 example. So this is how your DP transaction look like, and this is how your DP state actually looks like. DP of I is, when you define DP of I, this is what is defined as your DP state, and this is what exactly defines as your DP transition. Now if we, and the third step is base case. So these three steps clearly define your DP, and if you are able to clearly define those three particular steps, then your problem is 99% solved. So let's try to think that how we can solve this problem using DP. Okay. So if we talk about the first step, let's first define the state we are talking about. Let's first define what should be the state. Now the state I'm defining is, let's suppose if I talk about this particular state. Now DP of I of 0 I defined as maximum profit that I will attain with not holding the stock. This is the maximum profit when I'm not holding the stock, and DP of I comma 1 defines as maximum profit will attain while holding the stock. I hope the DP state is clear enough. Like what I'm talking about is, so the DP state I'm talking about is DP of I of 0 defines as the maximum profit that I will attain when I'm not holding the stock on the current day, and DP of I of 1 defines as when I'm holding the stock on the current day. Okay, so let's understand this more clearly, I would say. Okay, so if I say DP of I comma 0, so let's understand what do we mean by not holding the stock. Not holding stock. Okay, so first possibility could be you have never bought the stock. You never bought the stock. There could be a very strong possibility that you have never bought a stock. There could be also a possibility that you bought this earlier and sold it today and sold today, right? I'm not holding it. So not holding is that there could be a possibility that I have never bought the stock. मैंने कभी stock को खरीदा ही नहीं है. And DP of I of 0, it could also be that I have bought the stock somewhere on the previous days, before I, and I'm selling the stock today. Or there could be a possibility you sold it earlier and sitting idle today, and sitting idle today. Okay, now, and if we talk about DP of, if we understand DP of I of 1 as well, which means holding the stock. Okay, so if we talk about this, so it means that you have bought today, there could be a thing that you bought earlier and sitting idle, that we have bought the stock some on the earlier days and now we are not doing anything. We are neither selling nor buying. Or there could be a possibility you bought sorry, you sold it earlier and you never bought it, so you sold earlier and bought today. Now I hope the DP state are quite clear to you, that what exactly I'm defining my DP state as. So with this, now you are able to think of how my transaction would actually look like. So if we talk about the transaction over here, okay, so let's see the transaction. What I'm talking about is, so if we say my transaction would, can I say my transaction would something be like dp of I of 0 would be equal to max of, because I'm talking about the max profit I could take. So if we talk about dp of I of 0, dp of I of 0 is that I am not holding this stock. So there could be a possibility that I'm not holding the stock on the previous day, right? Or there could be a thing that dp of I minus 1, that I'm holding the stock on the previous day and I'm selling it today, plus the prices of I, right? And the second transition would be max of dp of I minus 1 comma 1 and dp of I minus 1 comma 0 minus prices of I, right? So can I say these are the transitions? Yes or no? Like, let's suppose if we talk about holding the stock. So I'm holding the stock as if I'm buying something. If I'm buying something, then I'm adding the negative value to my profit. You can understand in this fashion. If I'm buying a stock, let's suppose I bought the stock for a value 10. Then let's suppose my profit is 0. So isn't that I am buying something, so I'm paying something from my pocket where still the profit is 0, but I'm doing some extra buy. So wouldn't that value be minus 10? So this is how I'm buying is denoted by negative value. I'm saying buying is denoted by negative value and selling is denoted by positive value, because this is adding these kind of values to my profit. So this is how plus prices of I and minus prices of I are being written. Now the third case is writing the base case. Okay, so now let's discuss what should be my base case. So my base case would be dp of 0 comma 0, dp of 0 comma 0 would be equal to 0, and dp of 0 comma 1 would be equal to minus of prices of 0. So this is how my dp state, dp transition and base case would look like. And to write the code, this would be simply a big of n complexity code, where you would be able to write the like it would take a single for loop to write the entire code, and you will be able to do it in a much better fashion. So let's see the code as well. So if we see the code, so what I have done is I have defined a variable of size, then a dp array, then these are my base cases. dp of 0 is 0, dp of 0 comma 1 is minus prices of 0. Then simply I've written the transition, which is the dp of I of 0 is this, which we have seen in the video, and also dp of I of 1. And the final answer would be, there could be two possibilities, whether I am getting a maximum profit by not holding the stock or by holding the stock. So this is how our answer would look like. Let's try to submit this problem as well. Yeah, so it get accepted and it's quite good as well. So this is how we are going to solve this problem. In the next video we will be seeing the more advanced version of this particular problem, which is the best time to buy and sell stock problem 3, then 4, and then transaction fees as well. I hope you have liked the video. So please do share, like, subscribe the channel, and for the more upcoming videos, and also let me know which section you want me to cover, and if the things are like, if you feel that the videos are quite good and informative, do let me know in the comment section. Thank you.